Hello, Revere, and welcome to our Revere Veterans and Community Show. Today I have a special veteran. He's a military veteran as well as a community veteran. His name is Ed O'Hara, and he's running for councillor at large. Ed, welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Morris.
Thank you. You can call me just plain Morris. You make me feel old when you say Mr. in front.
Well, I'll call you Morris then, all right.
That's good enough. You are running for city councilor at large, and what made you decide to do that? Because you are a former council president, I believe.
That's correct, yes. I am a former council president. I served 4 years in the city council, and I also was on the school committee. I believe I was the youngest school committeeman at the time. But I didn't get reelected because during those days we had Louis Fox, who ran everything. And he didn't like what I was doing, chasing the painters around to make sure they gave two coats and so forth and so on. So they got somebody to run against me.
And who was that?
That was a classmate 2 years ahead of me. I won't say his name or anything. His father was a cop. Anyway, he beat me in Shirley Avenue. I lost by 21 votes in Shirley Avenue.
Right. People don't know that, but you were a state trooper, not only a state trooper, but if I'm correct, you were a state trooper and a Suffolk Superior Court officer for a total of 40 years?
Yeah, total, both.
Yeah, both.
Both, 40 years.
Tell us something about them.
Well, my job was mostly the bad guys. I had a great guy that worked for me in Suffolk Superior Court. His name was Tony Sato. He owned Mama Rosie Ravioli. He was my buddy for 16 years there. We dealt with all the prisoners that came in from everywhere. All kinds of prisoners, murderers and rapists and so forth and so on. That's what I did for a living. That's why I smile all the time, you see. Okay. And in any event, I was a trooper for 14 years. And what happened after I saw Mr. Cousy going on Arthur's farm, I said, well, I'm going to try to do something about this. Cousy was going on Arthur's farm with Babe
Are you talking
Pirelli.
about Bob Cousy?
Bob Cousy, yeah.
Oh, the basketball star.
Oh, yes. And he was my hero, you know, in high school, and I saw him coming out of it. I said, what's he doing in there? What is he doing in there? So I really started then to try to find out who owned Arthur's farm and so forth and so on, and I eventually closed them. It went to the state Supreme Court, but it was upheld. He went away, the poor guy went away and died anyway, but I closed Arthur's farm. And
what was it like at Arthur's farm?
Arthur's farm was the biggest fence on the east coast of the United States.
Oh, it wasn't a farm then?
No.
No,
they had fruit and vegetables and so forth and so on, yeah. And people stopped there. You know, I didn't bother those people. I didn't bother those. The wise guys are the ones I was after.
Oh.
And eventually the place closed, and things have changed now in Revere. They really have. You know, in those days, times were really tough then. You know, and I was a trooper all through I went to the Attorney General's office. I was ordered to the Attorney General's office, an organized crime unit.
Yep.
And I went there the first day, and this guy from New York, he just came in there. His name is Rogovin. He said, Mr. O'Hara, I want you to go to Revere. I want you to find out who lives in Revere that are in the mafia and everything. I said to myself, what the hell is this guy asking me to do that for? Everyone knows that. So I went there, and I went to City Hall, where there was a dear friend of mine, a woman who worked there. I used to be a paper boy. Her name was Rita. I won't get into last names. She said, oh, Eddie, how are you? Gave me a hug and a kiss. She said, what can I do? I said, I want to find out how many people here, I have names that I want you to check because they're supposed to be in the mafia. And she goes, oh, please, Eddie, please don't ask me that, please. And she almost fainted there. I said, what the hell am I doing here?
Eddie, I got to tell you something else. You mentioned paperboy. When I was about 6 or 7, living in New York, in Brooklyn, I used to have a little red wagon, a flying car, the little red ones, and I would have newspapers on there. And there was a grocery store called Freeman's on Avenue L and East 92nd Street, if my memory serves me correct. I would stand out there. Papers were 2 cents, newspapers at that time, 2 cents.
Right.
And I was selling papers, so one gentleman came over and he bought a paper for me and he gave me $1. Yeah. And I'm looking for the change. And he said to me, forget about the change, Sonny, keep the $1. When he went away, I dropped all the papers back on the wagon and I ran home to my mother and I says, Ma, look what I made. And that's how, yeah, and those days, that was a lot of money for a kid.
Of course it was.
And I'm talking about the 1930s.
Yeah, yeah.
1935, 1936.
Yeah. Well, I was around then.
You were?
Yeah, I won't tell you how long ago, but I was around then. Yeah, of course I was.
So we're both ancient.
Yeah, well, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
I'm not ancient, you know. Somebody asked me, how old are you? You know what I said?
No.
16 minus 7, all right?
That's 9.
No, 16 minus 7 plus 13 minus 3 divided by 7 times 6. That's how old I am.
Okay, you got to give me a minute. It's
I'm
only
not
half an
gonna
hour.
know you. You're never going to find out. Go ahead. What else you want to know?
No,
here?
I want to know everything about you, your education, where you grew up, and what schools you went to.
I grew up in the Point of Pines, John Avenue.
Yep.
The Point of Pines, and that's where I learned to fish and to swim and all those things. And one day there was a little girl who lived next door to us, and me and my sister were you know, we were in going to school. We were in grade 2 and 3 and so forth. We crossed the street, and a girl got hit by a car. My father said, "That's enough. We're getting out of here." So we sold the house, and we moved to Revere, and we ended up on Janvern Avenue, right on B Street here. And from there, we went to Carey Avenue, the next street over. We've lived our family has been here for 100 years, over 100 years in Revere. 100 years. I have 8 daughters. Five of them are still in Revere.
Before we get into the
Go ahead.
history of Revere, what made you decide to run for council to begin with? Again, I mean, I should say councilor at large.
I was a trooper and I ran for council. I was against the rules and regulations of the
stop
state
you
police.
For a minute. Ed, I got to stop you there.
Yeah.
You mentioned a story to me that you took training, a story where you went out to Northampton.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Oh, I can't tell you that story.
No, you should. You should.
Oh yeah, no, the people wouldn't. They think that was too fresh.
Let them decide
Are you
for themselves.
serious?
Deadly serious. Go ahead. Let the people decide for themselves.
Well, I had to wait a while. They sent me to Northampton. There was only one trooper in Revere then, and I was the second one. There was another kid there.
You mean state trooper?
State trooper. There was only 3. In the history of Revere up to that point, there was only. So they sent me to Northampton. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to come to Revere because I had 3 kids at home. My former wife was taking care of them. As I told you, we lost a child there.
Right, yeah, that's sad.
And they gave me 2 days. They were trying to get rid of me because I was from Revere. So in any event, eventually I made it, and they sent me to Northampton. I wanted to get out of there. And I was tagging everybody around Northampton, and they didn't like that. So the sergeant called me and said, "I want you to go to a farm here. There's a pig farm down the road here across. You'll see who it is. They're having trouble. The owner of the pigs down there, his sow keeps losing. It's the piglets. Keeps losing them, and she's a champion. There's something going on." So I went down there a couple of times. I didn't see anything. I went back to the sergeant, and I said, "Look, I can't find." He said, "Look, go back. We want to know what's going on." So I go back and I climb up in the loft there, and I'm sitting there one day. The cruiser's in the woods, and a guy comes out, comes in, and I see him. He takes off his shoes and he puts rubber boots on. He puts rubber boots on, and then turns around, and I don't think I should say this. You want me to go on with this thing?
Finish the story, sure.
Oh, gee. So anyway, he puts the sow's legs in his boots. Now you know what he was doing there. All right, so I arrested him. And they went crazy because his brother was the head of the court.
And what happened? Yeah, and what happened to him at the end?
At the end, they threw the case out because his brother was in court. It was a serious situation. But you know what happened? The owner of the sows come up and hugged me. He said, "Thank you very much, trooper," he said, "for what you did. No one would ever believe that." He said, "But I want to thank you," and he did thank me.
You know, people say to me, Morris, because I am a World War II veteran, they say, "Thank you for your service."
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your service as a state trooper, because
Well,
you guys do a terrific job. And let me tell you, if it wasn't for you, the police, whether the state police, the local police, we'd have anarchy all over the country.
I know. Well,
it's people like you that protect people like me.
What I did was, you see, the way Revere was, I said, I'm going to try to do something. So what did I do? I put my name in and ran for election. It was against the rules and regulations of the state police. It went to the state Supreme Court, and a lot of people say he was thrown out. No, I was honorably discharged after 14 years. In any event, I got elected.
Right.
And who do you think the first woman in the history of the city was? My former wife. She was the first one. Because when I got elected, I went back for a month in the state police, and then when I took office in Revere, all right, I took office in Revere, I was off the job again, and I got honorably discharged.
The story I like that you told me before we went on the air, and I thought it was an excellent story, is that you were driving and there was a lady with a white flag. Tell us about that one.
Well, I applied for the state police. I went 3 times, applied for the state police, and I couldn't get in. And a couple of people from Revere tried to help me. Ronnie Corbett was one of them, my coach. He tried to help me. Couldn't get in. And one day I'm driving a Saugus, and I go by, there's a woman with a handkerchief with a flat tire. And I said, oh, I backed up, and I went back. And I said, well, let me help you? And she had a flat tire. So she started asking me questions and, you know, what do you do for a living and so forth. And I get into how I applied for the state police 3 times, and I couldn't get in, and it didn't look like I was going to get in. And that was basically the end of it. Well, it ended up she was the governor's secretary, and she evidently called someone, and the next day they called me to go to the academy. But they had to drop somebody out. When I got there, you know, they weren't too happy to see me there. They really tried to croak me there, and I wouldn't leave.
You know, this is good, because any veteran that comes out of the service who's been in the constabulary and the military service should apply for a job with the state or local police, I think, because they've already had previous training.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you there.
That would be good.
But it's tough. You know, everything has changed now.
When you took the training in the state police, tell us a little history about that. I'm curious myself.
Well, we were up every morning at 5:30, and around the track, we hit the track for, an hour and a half running, always running, running off onto the highway in Framingham and back on into where the academy was, and all we did was work out and run and work, and we had to take examinations. But I'll tell you one story. What happened was we had weapons then. You know, they took us. We had to get our weapons, and we had to go and fire them, and so forth and so on, and. The lieutenant would come in and they'd check the weapons to make sure they were clean and everything.
Just like the Army.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And mine was clean all the time. And the lieutenant would say to me, O'Hara, 1 gig. And I look at them, I said, Jesus, they couldn't say anything. So what I did one day, the next week, I swapped my weapon with the guy across who, his weapon, he'd say, oh, his is fine. So I gave it to him, and he gave me his, all right? So along comes the lieutenant, he looks and he says, oh, no, another gig. And everybody started laughing. There's 35 guys laughing like hell. And then eventually he found out. He was furious because the guys, you understand what I mean?
Yep.
So but the next time he turned around, he just went, O'Hara, okay. So that's another story. They did everything to try to get rid of me.
And how long is the course at the academy for you?
50 weeks, I think it is. 50 weeks.
That's almost a whole year.
Yeah. Well, it might be 25 or 30. I forget exactly what it is. And you had to stay there. You slept there, you know. You had to stay there. You didn't even. You only came home for one day, half a day, and you had to go back. You know what I mean? It was tough.
I always like to ask police officers this question. When you were as a state police, what was your worst case there that you had to handle? When I say handle, your worst criminal.
I delivered 2 babies.
That's good.
I delivered 2 babies, and they taught us in the academy. Well, you had to cut the umbilical cord, and the only way you do it, you had to take your license out of your boots, tie a knot here and tie a knot there, and then you had a jackknife, and you cut the umbilical cord. You know what I mean? But I delivered that baby, really, and then I had another baby. But my claim to fame was the rest area. The rest area on 128 in Dedham was famous for unfortunately, guys that were, you know, were they were seeing each other and so forth and so on.
Okay.
And I went back to the barracks one day on my day off, and there was a guy in there with 3 little kids, and he was talking to the sergeant about, he was furious because their kids were assaulted in the rest area.
Oh, I see.
So I went after the rest area. I went after there every day, and I arrested priests and ball players and all kinds of people. Arrested them. And,
for indecent exposures.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they didn't, and they were getting mad, so they sent a lieutenant with me. And I was walking through there one day, one night. It was dark, and a guy come up and he said, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And I said, "Fine." And he said to me, "Oh, it's a wonderful night, isn't it?" And I looked up, and he kind of touched me in the wrong places, all right? So I decked him, and I couldn't get him up now. I had to call the lieutenant. We had to drag him out. So anyway, make a long story short, the state police were so mad at me, they transferred me. I went to Andover. But they closed that, and today it's still closed.
It's funny you mentioned Andover.
But I don't know if people want to hear all of this. You know what I mean?
People like to hear stories. Let me tell you, they like to hear stories about different things, about different situations, and especially where you're a police officer. How do you feel about, I hate to say that, how do you feel about marijuana coming into our
I'm
state?
against it. The city council voted for it, They voted. The guy came in before the city council, and they got land down here off of the Lee Burbank Highway.
I thought they were only going to put it in one place on Boston Milk Street.
Well, my understanding is that's still in the that's still in the works. I'm against medical marijuana. Can I tell you something I never told anybody?
Shoot. I mean, talk.
I have 8 daughters.
Right.
They had friends over the years, all right? I'm telling you the truth. I pray every night for 7 of them who all overdosed. All of them overdosed, and they started with marijuana. 7 beautiful kids, 3 guys and 4 girls. Beautiful, beautiful people. They died. They overdosed over the years. It's a terrible thing. We don't want medical marijuana.
Right.
I'm against it.
Now, how do you feel this? I said to my friend, and I'll say it to you.
Go ahead.
Not to have marijuana distributed by private people, but to have it distributed by medical doctors. Let's say I go to a doctor and he says to you, "I'm going to give you a little marijuana, but you got to take it in here. You can't go out with it like they do with the VA. Certain pills you've got to take inside the VA because they were selling them outside."
How many doctors do you think in the various states that have it
I have no
are in
idea.
the can now because they were selling it? Doctors.
Doctors themselves?
Of course they were. They were making money. They were making money.
Well,
medical marijuana, if you want to go somewhere, look what's happened in the various states now. I mean, it's a mess. The place is a mess. We've got a problem here in Revere, too,
We got a problem all over the country with that.
But we've got a problem here. Our cops, we don't have enough police, really. We're down a lot of guys here now. They just put 3 on, I see. But, there's a lot of, we need more cops here.
Well, I think the mayor of Rizzo is doing a good job trying to build up the city, and he's doing a good job of protecting the citizens. This is the way I look at it.
Well, he didn't. Well, I don't want to get in. My daughter's,
well,
my daughter's a lieutenant. I'm kind of, but let me put it to you this way.
Lieutenant, where?
In Revere.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's a lieutenant. She'll kill me.
If I knew that, I'd be more nicer to you.
Well, I'm telling you now. You know what she tells me? Dad, please, don't talk to me. You don't know what you're talking about, she tells me. So now I want to show you something. Anyway, now you're sitting here. Take that hat. Will you take that hat off for a minute, please?
That's my signature.
No, but take it off. You deserve one thing. Take the hat off.
If I don't take it off, you lock me up, right?
That's exactly right. Take it off. There you go.
Good. Now I can lock you up.
Yeah. Now you can order me around, all right? I'll take this off. You see what I have here? Flag, state police, and who's that? Wounded Warriors. There you go.
And I noticed something else since you took your hat off. We got the same barbers.
That's right, too. But I shaved my head.
Oh, okay.
And you're a sissy. Look at the hair growing out of your ears and everything. What's that?
That's all you have
Are you
left.
married?
I've been married 65 years.
It's a wonder she looks at you every day like that.
No, we got married in 1950.
Good for you.
So, do the math, 65 years.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I've got 8 daughters, beautiful daughters. They're all gorgeous. God bless them.
Good.
They all work. They're all grown now. Except
Ed,
one.
I'd like to talk to you about
Go ahead.
something. Can I wear this
You
hat till the
bet
end
your
of the
life
show?
you can.
Okay, and I'll give it back to you at the end.
All right, yeah.
Do you want it back?
No, but I don't want to wear yours. You should wash it. But anyway, go. All right, go ahead. Keep the hat on. You look good.
Okay, let me say this to you.
Okay, go ahead.
You're running for city council. You see the improvements up Broadway.
Yeah,
You see,
I'm against it.
may I, against what?
The improvements,
Such as?
everything. What happened here was they got $1,400,000 to repair Broadway. I'm pretty sure that's the figure. The Broadway runs from the Chelsea overpass
Right.
all the way down to Revere Street. That part of the roadway is controlled by the city of Revere. So that's a fact. The city of Revere controls it. The Department of Transportation has nothing to do over that. And all the traffic lights and so forth are responsible to the city of Revere. When you see these lights going crazy all over there, I mean, this isn't, it's a bad
But look
deal.
at the improvements that have.
What improvements?
Okay, let me say.
They've got a bike path between two roads. Cars, you go on Broadway, right on Broadway near Park Ave, there's a bike path that goes in the middle between two cars. Who ever heard of such a thing? You know what happened to me yesterday? A 7-year-old, I stopped the kid because I was afraid he hurt himself. A 7-year-old kid is riding his bike in those paths.
But you can't put the bike path on the sidewalk because people walk there.
There shouldn't, listen, there's hundreds of bikes now. Hundreds of bikes. They're all over the place. They're
Right.
up until 11, 12 at night. They're riding the roads. We've got motorcycles, those bikes that there's an engine. You stand in the engine, you ride around. I mean, you can't be doing
Okay,
all
then
these things.
let me be the devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
You criticize where the bike paths are.
Yeah.
People got to have bikes. They got to be safe, just like pedestrians. Where would you put the bike
Hey,
paths?
look.
No,
I understand that. You have to have, if you're going to do that, you have to have 2 or 3 police officers on Broadway constantly. We don't have the men. We need more men, and you can't just let these people. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Do you know what baffles are?
no, not really.
Motorcycle baffles.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, if you take and you remove your baffles in a motorcycle and put in the engines, they are loud as hell. You understand? We don't have the police to stop them. There's motorcycles, wide open baffles going. You want that? They're loud, very, very loud. It's against the law. But we don't have the police. We don't have enough cops. We need more cops. Look at you get school teachers all over the place. Every time a kid comes into school, it's another school teacher. I just look at their cost us $18 million. The city is, I think, is $23 million or something. They're losing money. The taxpayers are paying almost the same amount of money they are for the city. We've got to stop. There's 11 schools. Now they want to build another one. There's 12 schools. You understand? And I have nothing against immigration. I really don't. But we have to slow it down. We have to slow it down.
Well,
Look,
that should be done at the borders where they come in illegally.
well, I understand that, but the state of Massachusetts is probably the 3rd most liberal state in the United States. That's how, you got to understand what's happening here. I know, I went through, listen. I remember the fire chief and Mayor Ambrosino coming before the council and saying that the ethanol trains are coming. It's a done deal. You know what a done deal means?
Yeah.
It means forever. You can't do anything. Well, I did something. I stopped it. And it took me almost 2 years and hundreds of hours. And I stopped it. And you want to know something? You know what they wanted to do? They wanted to run trains loaded with rail cars loaded with ethanol, 125 trains twice a week, all the way down to the Point of Pines, and then back them all the way into Global Petroleum. And if you look here, I put this here so you might see it.
I see
You might see it, right? Here's what it was. Bin Laden. You know who Bin Laden
Yeah.
was? All right?
Yep.
The federal government come out with an order that Bin Laden said he wants to go after cities, small cities and towns. Never mind that. That's what he wants, small cities and towns. Can you imagine trains loaded with ethanol, the third most volatile chemical around, all the way down from the Point of Pines, all the way down under the overpass and on Bell Circle. Can you imagine that? That's insanity. Well, I stopped it. I got some help from a couple of people later on in Chelsea. There's a couple. I won't mention the girl's name, but that's another thing.
Ed, we got 2 minutes left. So
2 minutes left.
That's
all right.
right.
Here's what I want to
Take
do.
1 minute, just
All right.
1 minute.
All right, I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm running for city council because I'm concerned about what's happening. I don't agree with the amount of money that's still being expended now.
Well,
that there's a big debt here. We have to stop. We have to stop. We got murdered by the casinos. We got murdered. Those guys there, they're thieves. We got two nice guys. The mayor's a nice guy, and Fester's a nice guy. We wanted around the corner guys to take care of those guys. You know what I mean? They were just too nice. And look what happened. Look what happened.
Well, that's the Gaming Commission. They're the ones that fouled it up
Well,
for us.
I
You can't blame the mayor.
No,
and you certainly,
no, I'm not
the others.
blaming anybody, but look at all those hours and money. I mean, you know, so here, I want to get involved because I'm concerned about the taxpayer.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you here now.
All right.
Let me tell you something. I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
say it was a pleasure for you to come on.
All right.
It
Well,
was
I don't know. People are going to say he's crazy.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Thank you for the information.
well,
No,
listen.
that was good.
Yeah.
First of all, let me say thank you again for your service.
Thank you for yours. Can I have my hat back, please?
Oh, no, you take that, I'll call the police.
Listen, listen.
Okay.
I quit smoking, you know, but this is vapor.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Thank you.
I can't walk out with
Okay.
this. They'll arrest me.
God bless
What do
our
you give it is? You put
Let me
something
finish
in
up.
here?
God bless the people of Revere.
I
God
love
bless
the
our-
peace of Revere.
God bless our troops.
Yeah.
But most of all, God bless our great
And
country.
remember me, I won't let you down.
And God
I'm
bless
kidding you, I
our
won't let you
country.
down.
God bless our great country,
Oh,
the
I love
United
it.
States of America.
Listen, I wrote 42 letters to stop the trains.
And God bless you again.
And it's a pleasure.
And thank you for your
It's a
service.
pleasure.